Get ready to sweat. The oven's plenty hot, and so is demand for Otters. Sleds might seem like a simple build, but just wait. You might find yourself trying to keep up with Team Otter and stretch it out. A boat anchor like you've never seen. Minn Kota's Talon comes to life, 3 stages at a time. People are passionate about outdoor equipment. Get this. Americans spend more than $20 billion a year on gear. But no one ever really sees how their stuff gets made.
Well, that's where we come in. Each week, we throw open the factory doors and give you a behind-the-scenes look at how your favorite gear is made.
Made for the outdoors. Out on the ice, in the toughest conditions, the Black Otter sled remains a staple. Otter, the foundation of portable ice houses. Turns out these sleds have quite a bit more use than just fishing.
Bill, welcome.
Chris Whitty works on the Otter project at Rotomolding.
Well, I think it's amazing when you say a company started with a sled. Obviously, that sled does a lot of different things.
We think of the Otter sled as ice fishing, but it's used in construction, ranching, disaster recovery. Internationally, we ship them to Russia, Scandinavia, Finland. It's not just a Midwest product, it's used all over the world.
Rhino sits hidden in Maple Lake, Minnesota, a quiet farm town 1 hour west of Minneapolis. Inside, Team Otter cranks out all kinds of roto-molded products, but Otter Pro sleds might be the most important.
We've been around for about 20 years. The company, believe it or not, started pretty much with the Otter sled. It was one of the first things that our owner started making.
And remains at Rhino's core.
The entire process starts outside the building, right back there in those grain bins. Each of those holds 40,000 pounds of raw product. It'll all get pumped inside the building using air and a piping system. Inside, that stuff, the raw material, polyethylene powder, mixed with, you might call it a few secret spices.
We have a proprietary blend of polyethylene that we use.
That polyethylene powder is really the DNA of Otter Pro sleds.
We know how much plastic has to go into each of them to get the wall thickness that we need.
Okay, so this bucket is 37 pounds exactly of that polyethylene powder. And 1 hour from now, this bucket will become this, an Otter Pro sled.
The team fills sled molds and clamp them shut.
All right, Dave, you have to show me this thing. This is the brain behind the machine. This is what makes everything tick.
Dave imports a recipe of sorts into the computer.
We got the oven at 550. Oven time, that's the amount of time that it spends just in the oven here. We got a 4-to-1 rotation with a 4-minute reverse. After it leaves the oven, it goes over to the cooling station, and that's at 20 minutes.
Inside the oven, the sled molds rotate on this giant fair ride looking machine. The completed molds rotate out of the oven and over to a cooling area.
Things like 2 stories high.
The molds constantly rotate, slowly melting and forming the polyethylene. The powder becomes liquid and oozes throughout the mold, eventually coating every nook and cranny.
And it will slowly melt that resin and coat the outside surface and continue to build layer upon layer upon layer.
For another 20 minutes, they'll continue to spin as the sleds slowly cool and harden. After that, the Otter Pro Sled process really gets cooking.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Splash Products, Access Covers, Game Fair, and Coates RV and Ice Cabins.
Tucked away in Maple Lake, Minnesota, Team Otter sweats away hot summer days.
There they come. So they put a gate out there around the side so guys like me don't fall off.
Once the sled molds start to cool, they rotate over to the deck. It's the hottest spot around.
Very, very hot. You really have some respect for the people that are working those decks.
Especially when you see them work. Watch this.
Got that pin out.
So that's Key's team. They're really fast.
Well, we got to around here.
Key Johnson supervises the deck team.
These guys are like a pit crew. They all know what the other is doing, and they work fast.
We try to stay in sync together, yeah. Otherwise we just fall behind and trip over each other the whole time.
After they loosen the molds, the tops pop off.
There it comes.
We'll pull the molds apart, bring the sleds out here, drop them onto the floor, and then we'll router them out.
So just like that, you can see two sleds, top and bottom.
You gotta rush all the time. We got a deadline on that clock. We always have to beat the oven for the next time. They always want that oven continuously full. So you wanna come on out and try it?
I'm gonna be the weak link. I can't keep up with these guys. I'm just gonna get out of their way. You guys actually forgot one clamp. I'm on the team. Here goes the powder. So that fast, they're dumping in the dry powder. But boom, boom, boom. They're pulling sleds, pouring powder, and getting it into the oven.
Go ahead and grab one. Just toss it on in.
It's gonna be the wickedest sled they've ever had. 20 hours a day, they fly like this, pounding out sleds as fast as they can. There's that much demand.
All right, Bill, the next thing that we need to do is, because it's a double cavity mold, we need to router them apart.
While the sleds are still hot and somewhat pliable, workers run a router 360 degrees around the sleds. And out pops a nearly completed product.
That looks easy.
You want to try the other side?
All right, so first thing, drill a hole.
Okay, grab that router.
Wrap it around a couple times. These are like $150 sleds.
Well, it's probably yours if you wreck it.
This is a seemingly easy looking task, but I have a feeling.
Good job. I don't think I could have done it any better myself. We can actually sell that sled.
Now that I've got routering down, I still need to pick up the final step, trimming.
Is that trim tool?
No, that's a shear form.
I don't even know the right tool to use. So what are you doing? You're just pulling with that blade? Just like that? How am I doing? Probably not doing great.
You're breaking a sweat.
Geez, I'm burning up in here. So you have to trim this sharp edge now, just because you don't want somebody grabbing the sled, and I'm wearing gloves, like I could feel anything.
I think that'll pass. I think that'll work.
With that, the Otter earns its name. And I earn my stripes.
Thanks, man.
Good job, thanks. You earned it.
Team Rhino. Gloves and a t-shirt and I didn't do squat.
Maybe I need to give myself a little more credit. After all, another completed Otter Pro sled goes onto the stack, ready to go out the door as the foundation of ice fishing's hottest shelter. And of course, to be used in all kinds of ways only people can think of.
Now that I work here, I see these more than I ever have. It's a good feeling to see these out in the world.
Coming up, Minn Kota builds on its boating legacy, crafting a new mechanical anchor. Straight ahead, I go to work on the Talon.
We'll never be able to stay steady in this wind. You know, it's funny how fishing has changed in the last few years. Holy cow, now the electronics are fancier than ever. The motors are getting bigger. Now there's this guy right here, the Minn Kota Talon. Quite the story when you see how this thing gets made for the outdoors.
Workers build Talon mechanical anchors at Minn Kota's Mankato, Minnesota facility. Building the Talon, you might say, is a very tall order.
What is the Talon? How do you describe it to somebody?
The best way that I can describe the Talon area is an anchor. And
A fancy
anchor.
super duper fancy
Yes.
anchor.
Yes, it is.
Talons mount on the back of fishing boats. The operator hits a button, and the 3-stage anchor drops a spike up to 12 feet deep, holding the boat in place.
We're used to using the little rope and the anchor and throwing it over the back of the boat, you know. Now we no longer have to do that.
Now you just play with the
Yeah,
remote.
now we just play with the remotes. I mean, how much more easier can it get?
Yeah.
Joyce Brower heads up Minn Kota's Talon production line. The team works on subs. Subs are the components that the Talon team will assemble to create the final product. Up first, team members build spring-loaded drums. These will hold the drive cable that lowers and raises the anchor. Once workers complete all the subs, the team gets to work on the Talon's main assembly.
So this is kind of stage one of the process, and this is Lillian. She's a little bashful, but she's really good at what she does.
Workers start by picking a fiberglass shaft. This spike is the anchor's, anchor point. Workers attach the pole to a piston and complete what's called the Talon's first stage.
So essentially, she's putting the fiberglass post inside the first stage and wiring it and putting on pulleys. You've got like 16 different jobs, and I watch you do this, and I can't believe you remember how to do all of them.
Well, we've been here too long, so we memorize every single step. It's just automatic, but even then, we have to be very careful with what we put because Minn Kota is #1 when it comes to quality.
After the pulleys, Lillian feeds the main drive cable. Once she properly mounts the cable, rivets hold everything together. And Lillian grabs a pen.
This is our initial. So everybody has to put his or her initial for each stage, you know.
Quality control, so Minn Kota knows exactly who built what.
But sometimes, you know, we have junior or senior moments. And then we forget stuff, not intentionally though.
No, I got it.
And that's one thing. Like what I said, quality is the #1 stuff, you know.
So, stage 1 now enters stage 2. The Talon slowly takes shape. Up next,
Oh, I'm leading. You follow me. Keep up.
oh, Team Talon puts me to work.
No time for a coffee break.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Banks Outdoors, Open Air Solutions, Wiley Point Lodge, Midwest Steel Dealers, and by Central Boiler.
Anglers perpetually yearn for more and more technology to help them catch fish.
Guys, they always want the new thing. I lost one. But they always complain about boat control. That's a major deal.
In comes this gadget, fishing's mechanical anchor. Minn Kota produces Talon anchors darn near round the clock.
There is a very big demand for this product. Yep. We just can't seem to make them fast enough to fill the orders, but that's good. That's good news. That's what we want.
With the Talon's stages 1 and 2 complete, the unit moves down assembly.
So, Nanita is in charge of stage 3. And essentially her job is to take stage 1 and stage 2 and slide it into stage 3, add pulleys and other parts. Think of it a lot like one of these Russian nesting eggs. It's just parts inside bigger parts inside bigger parts.
Each stage adds more pulleys and more rivets. Once workers complete all 3 stages, the Talon sits ready on the rack for final assembly.
So that's Dan. He's the assembly man.
And he's a busy guy.
Busy, busy, busy. And money, money, money.
Busy, busy, busy is right.
Dan Leonards keeps more blue bins than about anyone in this entire facility. Blue bins full of parts that complete the anchor.
Dan actually has a set of cheat sheets if he might forget a step here or there. But when was the last time you actually had to look at your sheet?
I don't know.
A long time ago.
Dan might be a man of few words, but watching him work, you see, he is very particular.
I've been making these for probably about 3 to 4 years now.
So since the beginning.
Yep.
Dan adds a control board, attaches the drive motor, and winds the drive cable onto the Talon's drum. Once together, Dan hooks up power and tests all 3 stages. 1, 2, and 3. There you go. After making sure the unit works, Dan seals the connections and passes the final product off to Armando Quiros, Mr. QC. Armando tests every Talon. Up first, the down pressure.
Sometimes it's 85, 80.
And you're just checking to make sure the pounds of pressure it's exerting are about the same.
Yeah.
So did that one pass?
Mm-hmm.
He's tough. He's looking at every little detail on this machine to make sure everything's right and it's ready to go out the door.
Oh, and suddenly, I work for Armando.
He's already hired me to do all his grunt work. I'm following, no, I'm leading. You follow me, keep up. Very, very gentle. No time for a coffee break.
Not yet.
This might be the funnest part of the whole deal. You'll see. Finally, it gets its name.
Yeah, the correct label.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's good.
Once labeled,
Clean again. Put a little flesh.
each unit gets a quick polish.
pledge. Bet you never knew. That's how they clean it. Pledge.
Accessories go in and the unit gets bagged, boxed, then stacked, ready to go out the door and onto a boat.
What Talon has done is given people hands-free a way to anchor their boat and keep on fishing.
Plus, it's just kind of cool.
You had it. Talon's doing its job. I'm just not doing mine.
Calm wind like today or rough water, mechanical anchors are the new thing, and the Talon is Minn Kota's model, and it's made for the outdoors.